Not only she has an absolutely incredible relationship that is such inspirational, and you've been married for over 10 years and you guys are such an inspiration of a couple, but you're also absolutely killing it in all other areas of life. And we only wonder how you have time for everything, and I'm sure we're not the only ones. I know Jade obviously runs her own business. Jade starts helping out hundreds of clients to start their own business, to get their business off the ground, to make it very successful, and she gets amazing results. She also runs a podcast. She also gets involved with a lot of charities and amazing organizations like Bed Down, which was such an amazing thing that you've done for Christmas party. Then on top of that, you actually work full-time as well at PwC, which I'm sure will not be a walk in the park. And you have a law degree and you're continuously studying. So all that combined together define success for me. And also you are healthy, right? So you look extremely healthy, and it's incredible to see, you know, and we're really looking forward to hearing from you today, Jade, and you sharing with our community of women, obviously. And we'd love to, I think things that we kind of thought that would be the most relevant. Number one would be the productivity tools and how you actually do what you do in the same 24 hours as a lot of other people do. And the second thing and the third thing combined together, more talking about the different trends that you see with your clients when they're starting up the business, and also what it takes to get the business off the ground. So
yeah,
thanks for that.
Thank you so much for having me, guys. I've been so excited to come into this channel and do some conversations with you guys too, because your group's amazing. I see all the activity inside of it, and everybody's so supportive and really motivated, and it's awesome.
Yes, thank you. It's we feel that this is the place where we can give people permission and just like freedom to be themselves and express and sell themselves and sell what they offer. And the group is actually has interesting story, because it began when I got kicked out of of one of the groups for promoting our services, promoting Fall in Love with Sales. And because we were tiptoeing around Facebook groups with Ksenia for, a few months, checking, it's like, you got to check which hashtag and which date it is, and make sure not to be not mistaken. And you have to make sure, like, if you just creating a post that doesn't have any self-promotion, and it was just so difficult, and we had so much guilt and shame around it.
Yeah.
And eventually I got kicked out, and I was like, what? We're going to create our space, and we're going to give people freedom to shout from the rooftops what they do and how amazing they are, and just, bloody hell, sell yourself.
Yeah, it's so true. It does mess with your confidence. I've had the same problem. Like I've had an e-commerce business on the side as well, and like you're constantly trying to find groups you can post in, because you have this amazing product that people in the group want and love because they buy from you, but tiptoeing around the rules is so frustrating. And it does affect your confidence, because you think, well, am I not allowed to talk about what it is that I do? Are other people not going to want to hear it? Like I know it's messed with my confidence in the past too.
Yeah, it's quite crippling. I understand that when you hold a container, you create a group, you want to hold a container, but sometimes it gets overboard with shaming, and you've got to be careful. Sales is a very, industry that is not very straightforward. It's a very fine line where you are authentic in your offering, or you just go into your shadow, or trying to push and manipulate, or just your motivations are not fully aligned with yourself. So that's what, we're teaching Refocus, and that's why we love inspirational women, inspirational success stories, and you have such a huge impact on your community. I think you have hundreds and thousands of followers on Instagram. You're very active on Facebook. How do you do that?
I just want to start by saying it is not comfortable for me to do all of that. I'm a very private person, and so for me to be really active on social media is a very conscious decision. And it's because, if I'm being honest, like, people want to see more of you. They buy you, they buy the experience that you offer them. They don't buy the product that you're selling. And I've tried a business before when I first launched where I didn't want to share I still don't share all of my life now, but like, I didn't want to share parts of my life every day. And so I found it really hard because obviously people weren't engaging with me and they weren't feeling that connection with me and that sense of community. And so I realized about a year and a half ago, I'm going to have to put aside like my personal feelings about being active on social media, and I'm just going to have to do it. And I did it, and it was phenomenal, the uptake. Like, people felt like they knew me and I hadn't even met them. And when I was meeting them, people were coming up to me and saying, "Oh, I loved that caramel hunt video that you posted the other day. I've got a fetish with caramel too." Or like just something random that I had done, like, "Oh my goodness, your bulldog, I can't believe he climbs onto the bench." And just stuff that you've shared that, for me, like, I don't mind sharing that side of things. It's just more of a conscious effort to remember. But for them, it makes them feel like they're a part of my life. And so yeah, I had to make a big conscious effort to learn to do that more often. So I suppose perception is a big tool that I use. Like, people perceive me to be so busy on social media all the time, but the days I'm posting stuff are not always the days I've recorded it, because I'm working a full-time job. And so I'll do like a lot of batch recording or do a lot of batch work, and then I release it in dribs and drabs, and it creates the illusion that you're active every day on social media when you're not actually. And I've even had people at work saying to me, like, "How are you doing this? I know you're sitting here at this desk." how And I've had to show them like the apps I use to schedule and like all the tools that I use and what I do, and they're like, "Oh, okay." So and PwC are really supportive of my business as well, so they've got no issues with it because they know that I get the job done at work, and it only feeds into like it feeds into my sense of purpose, but it also feeds into the clients as well, because I'm upskilling myself with being around mentors who are training me and educating me, and I'm bringing that into the startup space, and then vice versa. I'm bringing startups into PwC as well. So it's kind of a good synergy and connection.
Beautiful balance. Can you share any tools like that you find super useful to boost your productivity?
Yeah, definitely. I've got quite a few. So I actually get asked this question all the time, and it was because actually it started when I used to work a full-time job while I studied full-time at uni, and I launched my business and this was law at Bond, so it wasn't easy. And I launched my business halfway through my degree as well. So I had the 3 on the go, as well as my relationship. And I was always getting asked, like, "How are you doing it?" And the thing is, I still have the same amount of time as everybody else. It was just how I was spending it was the major difference. And so
I was actually just about to ask you, how much do you sleep? Because yesterday I met someone who said, "I sleep only 3-4 hours a day." I'm like, oh my God.
That's not healthy.
For this person, he said, "But then I meditate for an hour and a half, and I guess that's his rhythm." And I went, oh my God, I'm a little bit jealous, but at the same time, I like my sleep.
I'm an 8 hours sleep girl. If I don't get 8 hours sleep, I am useless. It takes me twice as long to do anything. I'm so not productive. But so there's 2 different types of people. There's people who are morning people, and this is like being proven. There's a whole book written about it. It's amazing. But there's people who are morning people and people who are night people, and it comes from like our long line of lineage. So back in the day when, we were tribal hunters and gatherers, you were either the night shift person who would stay up and watch the camp at night and make sure no one invaded, or you were a day person who'd go out and harvest the crops and get the feed. And apparently, according to this book, it's been ingrained in our DNA for so long through generations that if you struggle to function before lunchtime, you're probably a night person and come from that lineage. But for me, I'm a morning person. So when I wake up at 5 in the morning, I wake up at 5, but I'm awake at 5:30. And so I get like a few hours worth of work done in the morning before I even start my day job. And then in the afternoons and evenings, again, I'm working till about 8:30 at night, and then come 9 o'clock, I'm in bed. If I need it, if I'm still feeling quite active in the mind, I might put on some Netflix for half an hour and watch something funny just before I go to bed. But from 5:30 through to 8:39, I'm go. It's game on, and so that's when I squeeze everything in. I've got this mean little routine now where I try and get all of my business and my work done during the week, and then I have a day off on the weekend, and then I might have half a day or a day studying, getting all my study done. So I'm still doing my planning degree at the moment. So
another degree.
Yeah. It wasn't my choice. I was done after I got admitted as a lawyer, but PwC, amazing place to work. They're paying for me to become an accountant. So I didn't say no. I was like, okay, if you're willing to pay for it, I'll do it. So, and it's been a huge investment for them and a big investment for me. So, yeah.
Wow, what an incredible woman. So share some tools. Give us some heads up so we can at least be going half your speed.
Yeah. So I've actually created an ebook which you can download from my website with like everything in it. But essentially, the first one is you want to figure out when you're most active. So are you a morning person or a night person? And then it's about looking at things like, how are you spending your time? Are there actually inefficiencies in the way you're spending time? So for me, like I have a 2-hour commute to work and a 2-hour commute to home whenever I work in Brisbane, and I work up here 3 days a week. So I use that 2 hours to get something done on the train, so that way I'm always efficient with the way I'm spending my time. Same with like when I'm getting up in the morning and getting ready, I might be mentally thinking about the podcast I'm going to record either in the car on the way to the train station or perhaps after work or something like that. So I'm actively thinking all the time to get things aligned, so that way I can execute quickly without any obstacles. And so it would be doing the same thing. So how are you spending your time? Where are your inefficiencies with your time, and how can you improve or cut out the dead time? And we all have dead time. Like we all do something that, you know, we can sacrifice if we want something else more, I suppose. So yeah, and then there's other tools that you can download and use to help you with like organization and all that kind of stuff, like Google Keep and a few others. And there's like blockers that you can download for your computer, so that if you get distracted all the time, you can block things from showing up. And yeah, so there's like a swag of tools and and techniques, but it all comes down to, when are you most efficient with the way you think, and where are your inefficiencies with the way you're spending time?
Would it be okay to share the link for people to download your ebook?
Yes, definitely. It's 19 pages and it's loaded with like gold, and there's like lots of templates and stuff like that for you to do and complete, and it'll really expose how you can use time better and change the way you think about time. Two things I found really, really helpful, especially when I was studying, because I don't like to do something that I don't know what I'm doing. Like, it's challenging, it's quite confronting, and it's frustrating because you can't do it fast. And so for me, getting into that zone and that focus has been a massive tool and key. And the book actually goes through different ways you can get into a focus state. So for me, I love music. I absolutely love it. So if I've got music on in the background, I've got different genres for different things that I'm doing, like, you know, a gym playlist, a study playlist or whatever, but depending on what I'm doing will be the music that I have on in the background, and it makes me feel happy. So then it takes away some of that anxiety or anger about having to do something I don't want to do, because I got something I enjoy going at the same time. So it balances it out a little bit. And then a bad habit I got into was snacking. Don't do that. I put on the freshman 15 when I first started studying, and had to do a fitness comp to get rid of it. So don't recommend getting into that habit at all. In fact, have a bottle of water next to you, and when you feel like rewarding yourself, have a sip of water. And yeah, and then the other thing is, if it's not music, if it's something else you enjoy, like maybe if you really like this TV series that you're into at the moment, use that as like a reward for yourself once you've done something really hard that you didn't want to do.
Awesome. I have a question. in the very beginning of your starting of your business, like how did you get yourself, you know, to take what took you to get off the ground, get your business off the ground? And how was it hard? What is easy? Did you take it easy on yourself, going like, okay, well, I'm studying and you know, I'm working, so I'm going to take it whatever comes? Or you were setting very specific goals and trying to smash it as much as you could?
Yeah, that's a really good question, and it's probably twofold. So the first one is I do set goals for myself, and I do like to make sure I'm moving forward. I am quite a go-getter. I naturally have a lot of energy. I don't have like ADD or anything, but I naturally just have a lot of energy. I've got like a fast metabolism. I'm go, go, go all the time. But I've learned that if I don't reward myself with sleep, good food, and exercise, I burn out like anybody else. And so whilst I have these goals of things I want to do, it takes me longer to get there if I burn out partway through the process. So for me, I've learned to be kind to myself. And whilst I may not be getting to whatever I need to get to at a pace that I want to get there, I recognize that when I look back, I'm still getting there, and it's still faster than what most people probably would. But for me, I just have to be kind to myself and remind myself that, you know what, if it takes me an extra 6 months to get it done, it takes me that long, as long as I'm still moving forward. And I'll give you an example. So this last year, I've really been focusing on automating my business because I've tried and tested my business model. It works, it's successful. And the only way I could increase sales from this point onwards was going to be implementing different revenue models and automating my business. So that way I could scale and grow it. And I can take time off work to do that, but I didn't want to because we've got some exciting things happening. And so I had to make the choice. If I'm not going to take time off work, and I've only got so many hours in a day, I can't burn myself out. So I've set myself a goal that was more realistic, and that was to set up my online courses and to get everything automated that I could get automated, get a VA lined up that I could onboard, you know, like start to scale and grow, but to have it done within a 6-month period instead of have it done in, you know, a couple months, because I'm really impatient and I want to do it now. And so with my courses, for example, I'm selling them and delivering my courses, but I haven't finished building it yet. I'm only delivering it 1 month in front of where my participants are up to. And that's all that I need to do for now, because they're not rushing ahead, and it gives me extra time and that breathing space to make sure I'm not burning out as I'm doing it. So it's really important, I think, that whenever you're starting a business, to recognize your limitations, but also use your strengths as well. So for me, I'm really organized. I've got a lot of energy. They were strengths of mine, and structure is another massive strength of mine. So I thought I'm just going to use those strengths, recognize that they have an equal and opposite weakness, which is I could burn out if I go too hard, and just put systems and processes in place to make sure that I don't, you know, burn out or anything like that. When I was launching it, what I found hard was actually, so I worked a lot in the space of helping, like I worked for a property developer, and we had a retail precinct. So I was helping a lot of tenants set up their businesses. And I had worked for Woolworths for years managing the various different departments. So I'd managed little mini businesses before. So I kind of knew like the things I had to do. But for me, selling, if I'm being honest, was something I really wasn't comfortable with. It goes like, for me, my personality, like I'm such a giver, to ask somebody to give me something was really hard to do. And so for ages, I was winning business just because of my relationship and my nature, which was giving. But to sell, I found it really challenging. And that's, I think, ties back into the piece about the social media and wanting to be on it all the time, was I didn't want to constantly be on there asking people to sell to me. So asking for people to give me money or sign up. And so that was my challenge when I first launched my business, was getting used to being able to sell in an online forum, but also find the help I needed to be able to sell and get the coaching and the training. I think a lot of startups, they tend to struggle because they don't surround themselves with the people that are going to help them at the right times. And too many people think that I can save money by doing it myself, or that I'll just learn how to do it and I'll get better. But the thing is, it takes you so much longer, and you might actually miss out on so many opportunities. And so that was definitely one thing that I struggled with when I first started my business.
Yeah, we just came back from 2 workshops, and amazing. We saw like 4 different speakers, 4 different presenters and coaches, and they were absolutely incredible. It's seriously, we were just like, oh my God, we want to pay this person money. We want to pay this person money. We want to have all of them as our mentors and coaches, because you can definitely see how quickly you can progress when you have guidance by people who already done it and seen it hundreds and thousands of people and in businesses in front of their eyes. I've got a couple of questions, but this one I'll ask first. You said about your business model. How did you come up with your business model? Did someone help you to set it up, or it was more like, it came together? It was just a normal the things unfolding in your way? Because new businesses do struggle sometimes finding the right model, a business model that will give them good revenues and not burn out. Again, coming back to one of the workshops that I've been through, when the coach asks like one of the participants to show their business model, and when they write it out, it comes down that she would be working like literally around the clock, and will come back break even at the end of it. So sometimes when you sit down, and it sounds really good in your head, but when you sit down and do the numbers, it's actually not as sustainable. So how did you find your business model?
For me, the first portion of it was proving it out. So I obviously had a one-on-one model where I would work one-on-one with clients. It was so successful in the first year. I think I turned over 40 or 50,000 in the first year, and that was while I was working a full-time job. So I knew that there was like a need for it, and I was only doing this on the side. But I couldn't sustain and grow it without quitting my job. And I'd just been offered this job at PwC, and I could see like the growth I was going to have as a business coach working here. And at PwC, like we do a lot of business review type work, especially in my team. And so I'm learning every day from people around me who've been doing this for such a long time, because we work in the insolvency and restructuring space. They're often restructuring businesses. And so once I'd proven my model out, I kind of got the idea to change the model through a few different people. One was obviously through work and what we do here, and I was seeing what was working and what wasn't, and models that are successful for coaches and stuff like that. But I also, a lot of online mentors that I would follow and read all of their books, listen to their podcasts and hear what they were saying. I did an advanced diploma in business as well, which taught me a lot of strategy, and did some business subjects at uni as well, which taught me a few skills around business strategy as well. So I knew that to sustain a business and grow a business, they're two different things. And I knew that to grow a business, I needed to change this one-on-one model, because I couldn't keep delivering it. And I didn't want to, at such an infant stage of the business, hire coaches to deliver what I was delivering, because I was still building up the reputation in the business and still building up the brand. And so I knew that switching it to a group coaching model and a subscription model, and having a product ladder was going to be like the best step for me. And so that was when I decided a couple of years ago to slowly start switching it over. And it's taken some time. And at the same time, I've revisited my pricing structure and my product ladder and my systems and my processes. And I've slowly just been building on it. And it's coming to a point now where I'm becoming really happy with it. And within the next few months, the transformation will pretty much be finished. And then I'll be good to roll that out for the next couple of years and watch it scale and grow, which I'm really excited. But yeah, it was a few different sources. I think you can either pay somebody one-on-one to do it, or if you're bootstrapping it, or if you're in a really fortunate situation where you've got people around you who can help you, then leveraging those relationships is really useful as well.
And what is your main skill, or like the best, what's your genius zone in your business? What did that you do in your container that is just like no one else can do?
I'm amazing at structure. So for some reason, someone can just blurt what is all in their mind out to me, and I just go, and I just go, boom, 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 that's what you need to know. And they're like, oh my gosh, that's amazing. I don't know what it is. I've always just been able to like see so clearly structure inside anything, whether it be legal, accounting, business, relationships, it doesn't matter, whatever it is, there's patterns inside everything. And so once you I can see those and pull everything together and deliver something that people see as structure, which is, yeah, I love it. It's great.
Okay, we might, we'll probably come to you for a session with Xenia, because we always kind of in our meetings we end up going like and just like, and like, come on, no, come on, let's focus, let's just, come on, remember our agenda today, let's just focus. And then it goes like, but, and it's 100 things at the same time. I think we accidentally created like so many products just on pure inspiration.
That's not a bad thing. That is honestly a really good thing, because sometimes you see, like, once you get it all out and you get this, you see patterns, and those patterns might show you a different process to implement in your business, or a different product line, or a different pricing structure, or a different path to follow altogether. So it's good to have those sessions. I really enjoy having them.
And being so busy and, being quite structured as well, how do you manage your social life and your personal life? Because we have seen what a great community you have around yourself, those wonderful people, and it takes time to maintain those relationships as well. And I know that I can end up an hour on the phone here, 40 minutes on the phone there, especially being a helper. How do you manage that?
I don't actually, this is going to sound really bad, but like, I don't actually see a lot of people or call them as often as I should. But the one thing that I'm known for is I'm always there when people need it, and I always give something to people, whether it be advice or a connection or a solution to a problem that they're experiencing. So whenever anybody in my social network, or anybody that I know, or whenever I'm meeting somebody, whenever I have a conversation with them, I'm always asking the question, like, what are you up to at the moment? What are you struggling with? Like, to try and get a sense of how I can add value. So I'm very much a value add person. And that means that people appreciate having me around so much, because I try my hardest to add value, even if I haven't spoken to them in 6 months or a year. So I actually don't have people in my social network or circle that are quite needy in that sense, which is really good. So they understand that I've got a lot on my plate, but I'm always there if they ever need it, or if they've got a problem, because I might know somebody who can solve that problem for them or something like that. So I think it's not, you don't see it very often, and it's not, it's definitely not common in a lot of friend circles, so to speak. Usually it's people wanting to take from people, but I think that served me well, is just having that mentality of, if I can be kind to people, always be there whenever they need it, but teach people not to call on me all the time, so to speak. Just, whenever I can add value, whether it be a listening ear, or, solve a problem for them, or if I need, maybe sometimes I might want to hang out with somebody, and they're happy to be there for me too.
Yeah, well, I felt that, even long before pre-Christmas party, we've been in communication constantly, like, connecting. So I can say that even though you don't spend maybe too much time on it, but you always keep the connection. I really felt connected, and that you are kind of following us, and always knowing what we do, so, and give us a little bit of feedbacks, and very available as well for the communication. It's been great. And what about how does it take kind of a lot of time and attention to maintain your relationship, because that's another area of life that could suffer when you're studying a lot, or you getting your business off the ground, or expanding your business. How do you find balance in that area of your life?
I think that with that area, you have to have somebody who has the same love language as you. So Aaron and I have the same love language, and both of our love languages are quality time. So very lucky for us, we could both be sitting at our desks on a Saturday night working away on our business, and we are having the time of our life because we're sitting beside each other. And as long as we're together, we're so happy. And so I think sometimes during study periods when I have to get absolute focus and study at uni, I have to spend a little bit extra time with Aaron afterwards, because obviously we haven't spent that quality time together. But for us, I'm super lucky that he's so supportive, and just loves to see me blossom and bloom, and I am when I'm in my zone. So as long as he's right there beside me, then he's happy.
Oh, that's amazing, isn't it? It's like, I guess it's one of the most precious things is when we get support, and we have this fan next to us and just going like cheerleader.
I'm the same with him. Like he has this email database. He sends out emails every day to his database. He hasn't missed a day. And I'm always like, the first thing I do when I wake up in the morning is I read the email that he sent out while I was asleep last night. And I just like sit in bed with the biggest grin on my face, like, oh, this is the best. And he's still asleep because he's a night owl, because he's a night person. So I have to wait till he wakes up at like 7 in the morning to tell him, I loved your email last night. So yeah.
That's cute. Thank you for sharing. So what would be your advice to other business women out there that need to juggle so many things? From your experience, what would you like to share with them?
There's a couple of things. And this comes to people, down to people that I work with that I see doing it wrong. And that is, you can't have absolute control over everything. You have to learn to delegate. I delegate so much. I often, if there's a lot of things that I'm working on and some of it can be outsourced, I'll outsource it. Whether that means putting a job on Upwork or giving it to Aaron and saying, hey, could you do this for me? Or if you've got friends and family who have skills and talents, use them. You'll go crazy trying to start a business while working a full-time job if you can't let go of control. And so that's like the biggest key and piece of advice. The other thing is to make sure you have that balance. So like I said, I still do a lot like throughout my day, but I have a day on the weekend where I can do whatever I want, whether it be I go to the beach. Some days I might actually want to do my own business admin because I'm working on everyone else's for so long that, it feels refreshing for me to do something on my business, like make some videos or play piano or do something. You have to have your own time, and you can't do everything in 7 days. You have to have some of your own time.
Thank you so much. You're such an inspiration, and I'm sure a lot of ladies out there will find this very inspiring. So if you're watching this, JADESTART, follow her, follow Jade, and she's got so much generosity. She's got so much little gems to share, and we will share that ebook because I want to get my hands on it.
Definitely. I'll give you a link to download it. But if you want to join my mailing list, you can actually go to my website, www.jadestart.com.au, and there'll be a little pop-up that'll come up, and that's for the Making Time ebook. So you can either download it there, and that way you'll be added to my mailing list, or I'll make sure that I give you ladies a link so you can just download it straight from my Google Drive folder if you don't want to join my mailing list.
Brilliant. Thank you so much. And just reminding our listeners that we have on Wednesday our workshop. It's about selling with this. We mentioned sales today. That's what we do. We teach women and men to overcome that resistance that you mentioned towards selling and asking and shifting that. For example, instead of ask, we give directions like this, some reframing that happens during the sales process to make it easier and more, easy on our nervous system, so it doesn't go into anxiety when we have to, and easier also for people that are interacting with you, so they don't feel being sold to or pressured into something. So that's what our main focus is, bringing this ease and holistic approach to business and sales.
Yeah.
Thank you so much.
I'm excited. Thank you so much. It's been amazing chatting with you.
Absolutely, and see you.
See
Bye.
you. Bye.